Yellowstone's John Dutton and a fan favorite 1923 character share one heartbreaking thing in common. John Dutton, i.e., Kevin Costner, shares a heartbreaking similarity with his ancestor from 1923, shaping how they both ran the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. John Dutton's reign over his ancestors' land ended in Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2's premiere. A team of skilled operatives killed John Dutton in the governor's mansion, eliminating the most significant threat to Market Equity's plan to build an airport in the Paradise Valley. Still, John's children saved the Dutton Ranch the way they could, preserving its wilderness. Ultimately, after John Dutton's death in Yellowstone Season 5, his short-sightedness caused his son, Case, Luke Grimes, to sell the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch to Thomas Rainwater, Gil Birmingham, and the Broken Rock tribe. John's children weren't prepared to pay the inheritance tax that came with inheriting their family's land, so he never saw Case Dutton run the ranch without John's influence. Still, we may witness Spencer Dutton, Brandon Sklenar, running the ranch in 1944 instead, and the 1923 character's reign will have a striking similarity to John Dutton's. After 1923 Season 2's finale, we know Spencer Dutton will run the Yellowstone Ranch from spring 1924 onward. After Spencer kills Donald Whitfield, Timothy Dalton, he takes the helm of the Dutton Ranch, unburdening his uncle, Jacob Dutton, Harrison Ford, from its operations. Sadly, Spencer will run the ranch without a partner after Alex Dutton, Julia Schlepfer, died in 1923. Spencer loses his wife after she spends a life-threatening amount of time outside in Montana's unforgiving cold, ultimately succumbing to complications from hypothermia. We know from Spencer Dutton's time jump at the end of 1923 that he never married anyone else, despite having a son with an unnamed widow. The development proves that, throughout his time running the ranch, for as many as 45 years, Spencer had to manage things by himself. The reality of Spencer's situation looks a lot like John Dutton's, who lost his wife, Evelyn Gretchen Mole, in a fatal accident shown in a Yellowstone Season 1 flashback. John's wife was also gone too soon, leaving him without his most trusted confidant. We know that John's wife's death affected how he ran the ranch. John Dutton's best Yellowstone quotes prove that the character was profoundly in touch with the grieving process, having lost many family members too soon. John's connection to loss often leaves the ranch owner swirling in his sadness, which includes the death of his son, Lee, Dave Annable, and his infant brother, Peter. This pain potentially affects John's willingness to do things differently, avoiding his daughter's request to make changes, since Dutton was somewhat stuck in the past. We've yet to see how Alexa's loss impacts Spencer, since 1923 ends with Dutton taking control of the ranch, and then flashes forward to his death in 1969. Still, we know that Spencer's reign at the ranch will be impacted by losing his wife, since Elsa Dutton's narration in 1923's finale reveals that Spencer never took up another partner. Spencer's loneliness certainly impacted his work, although perhaps not as much as John Dutton's. We know that Spencer successfully ran the ranch through World War II and onward, since John Dutton eventually inherited the ranch in the modern era. We will probably get a keener sense of how Spencer's loss affects him in Taylor Sheridan's next Yellowstone prequel, 1944. Since it's a quarter century before his death, Spencer Dutton would presumably have run the Yellowstone Ranch amid the war, where the prequel will presumably pick up. While it's unclear if Brandon Sklenar will return as Spencer Dutton in 1944, the actor has pitched that his co-star, Julia Schleifer, return to the next saga as Alex Dutton, potentially informing Spencer's operation as some ethereal spirit, or perhaps appearing in Spencer's dreams. With Schleifer's willingness to return to the Yellowstone franchise, it could be that Spencer doesn't have to run the ranch completely alone, His ethereal connection to Alex Dutton, established in 1923's ending via Spencer Dutton's afterlife. Perhaps his connection to his late wife gives Spencer the strength to carry the fate of this family through the Depression and every other hell the 20th century hurled at them. As Elsa Dutton, Isabel May, tells us Spencer will do in 1923's premiere. The Dutton family legacy is as enduring as the Montana sky is wide, but no amount of sprawling land or time can protect its heirs from the cruelest companion of all, grief. Across generations, the Dutton men have worn their pain like a second skin, silently, stoically, and with a fire burning behind their eyes. And while many viewers of Yellowstone at its prequel 1923 might be tempted to focus on the gunfights, land wars, and political plays, it's the heartbreak buried deep in these men's souls that makes them so profoundly human. In the heart of Yellowstone, John Dutton, portrayed with steely resolve by Kevin Costner, rules over his land like a weathered king. But kings bleed too, and John's deepest wounds aren't from bullets or betrayal. They're from the people he's loved and lost. The most shattering loss? His wife, Evelyn. Though her death occurred long before the series begins, it echoes through every scene John shares with his children. She was the anchor, the soft place to fall in a harsh world. Her death fractured the Dutton family in ways even John doesn't fully understand. And while he rarely speaks of her, his actions, his protectiveness over Beth, his rigid expectations of Case, his disappointment in Jamie, are all colored by the absence of the woman who once balanced him. Meanwhile, in 1923, Spencer Dutton emerges as a breakout fan-favorite character, equal parts adventurer, soldier, and reluctant heir. As Jacob and Cara Dutton's nephew, Spencer grows up in the long shadow of his family's legacy, eventually escaping it by hunting man-eating lions in Africa and trying to outrun the ghosts of the Great War. But like his future relative John, Spencer finds a bright light in the darkness. Alexandra, a fiercely independent woman who defies social convention and falls headfirst into love with him. Their romance is sweeping, passionate, and pure, a rare moment of joy in a world that demands sacrifice. But joy is fragile in the Dutton universe. While John Dutton's heartbreak lies in the past, etched in the loss of Evelyn, the mother of his children, Spencer's is still unwritten, poised on the edge of tragedy. For fans paying attention, there's a growing dread that Spencer and Alexandra's love story may be doomed. The mere fact that Spencer is never mentioned in Yellowstone raises alarm bells. And viewers know all too well, love stories in the Dutton world are not built to last. It's this cruel, shared thread between John and Spencer, the weight of losing the woman who makes life worth living, that binds them across time. John carries Evelyn's ghost in every decision he makes, every desperate maneuver to hold on to the land she loved as much as he did. He's haunted by what he couldn't protect, her, and in some ways, the innocence of his children. Beth's scars, Case's trauma, Jamie's estrangement, all ripple from that moment Evelyn fell off a horse and never got back up. John blames himself in that quiet, fierce way only a cowboy can. He doesn't say it, but he lives it. He wakes before dawn, rides the fence line, fights enemies from every direction, not just for the ranch, but because keeping it whole is the only thing that makes Evelyn's death feel less senseless. Spencer, by contrast, is still running from the specter of grief. He doesn't yet know what he's willing to give up for love. His story is one of hope, of second chances, of daring to believe that two broken people can find healing in each other. But fans of the Dutton saga know what's coming. Tragedy has a long memory, and it's rarely merciful. Whether it comes by war, betrayal, or the relentless pull of fate, Spencer is likely to face the same devastating moment John did. The realization that love is not a shield against loss. What's haunting is that both men are warriors in their own right. John fights with politics and power, Spencer with rifles and raw instinct. But neither is prepared for the kind of battle that happens inside the heart. Losing a woman like Evelyn or Alexandra is not a gunfight or a courtroom showdown. It's quieter. It's the empty side of the bed, the whispered name in a dream, the phantom hand that never reaches back. And it's precisely this heartbreaking commonality, this shared loss of a life partner, that connects John and Spencer more than blood ever could. Their stories are reflections of one another. John, decades later, is what Spencer may become, a man hardened by loss, determined to protect what remains. And Spencer, in his youthful recklessness and devotion to Alexandra, is who John once was before the pain carved lines into his soul. This intergenerational echo of grief is part of what makes the Yellowstone universe so emotionally compelling. It's not just a story about cattle and land. It's about love, loss, and legacy. The land may stay in the family, but so too does the heartbreak. Each Dutton man inherits not just the ranch, but the burden of loving deeply and losing even deeper.